Hello again. This time I'd like to show you a little bit the Twitter Bootstrap framework boilerplate. It is more about because in the next tutorials we want to also get into kind of forms with the Play framework, and I think it's pretty basic that you have actually framework you can work with, and it's easy to use and easy to understand. So you do not have to take care a lot about generating forms and layouts and all this stuff. So it's a good start with if you look at the Bootstrap website. It's a framework. I'd like to talk a little bit about why we use a framework like this. It is we can take a look at the examples. If you look at this example, it is a little bit like you can use it for every device. For example, I'll show you how it scales. You can see we have a headline, we have a navigation bar, and also like a little bit of content. And you can see what's happening to the content when you make the window smaller. It breaks automatically and puts everything into the right place. So you can even use it on a smaller device like an Android phone or an iPhone or whatever. And still have your navigation bar available, and also your content. Everything runs smoothly. So I'd like to show you, give you a little overview about the framework. The scaffolding with Twitter Bootstrap is pretty simple. Everything is divided into a 12-column grid. This means you have every row you have 12 columns. And you can bound them together. For example, if we can look at the example again, this example we had here is this goes over the full width of 12, and this every little heading here, every single one goes over a width of 4. So this is and so everything looks kind of smooth, and everything is divided, and you have the divider in between and all the stuff. The next thing is that scaffolding also involves, you can see it here with the grid. So if you want to do divide it through 3, you have to do 4, and you can do different stuff with it. And it's only done by applying simple classes. So you can see here you can also have offsets. So if you want to display something only on the right, you just say, okay, give me a little space on the left-hand side. What is also interesting is that you can react to different devices. It's you can say with media queries in CSS, you can say that only a picture, for example, should only be visible on bigger devices if it's a tablet, and it shouldn't be available on a phone or something like this. Of course, it's a little bit different because you can see the base CSS from Twitter Bootstrap is everything is predefined. If you want to change something, you have to get into another CSS language called Less, but we will first do only the basics. So we're only working with the standard framework. Maybe in a later tutorial, I'll also give a little introduction into Less. So what we can do here is for example, what is interesting, also what we have to do a lot is to work with tables. And it's a pain to make nice formatted tables and all this stuff. So Twitter Bootstrap also does this for us, and it's kind of really simple. All you have to do for your table, it's just to add a class, for example, like this. Another interesting feature is also like the buttons. If you want to build an application, for example, we have like predefined doubles. Of course, you can kind of inherit that and also make your own buttons. The thing is, also like in together with all the icons you have available, you can like a self-explanatory user experience. For example, if you look at these examples down here, it's very, very simple to make like a checkout button in like one line. This is very, very basic, and with every web application you need these buttons, like, and you do not want to write your own CSS class and all this stuff, and you have like predefined buttons. They're already included into the framework. We have also components like navigation bars and stuff like this. For example, like this navigation bar here on the top, you can see when we made it smaller at the beginning, it's like it automatically generates a different navigation bar here at the top. What is interesting is like you have button drop downs, everything, like pretty much everything you need to generate like nice formatted forms later. So in the future tutorials, I will always use this Twitter Bootstrap boilerplate, because I'm actually too lazy to write everything on my own. Kind of interesting is like what we also have is like, what is interesting to tell maybe, yeah, JavaScript plugins. Yeah, it's like there are a few like predefined JavaScript scripts, and yeah, there's also like a demo, and also what you need to do actually is like just adding this little line to it and it works. And that's really, really basic and simple and makes life so much easier. So if you want to use it, just go on the Twitter Bootstrap website and download the latest Twitter Bootstrap, and maybe also I'll show you this one. So you can like predefine, if you're not happy with the standard layout, you can predefine your components you want to have, and you can download it in a nice package. So you can have like this constants everywhere. So what you kind of, for color for the background you want, what kind of yeah, the font you want, and all this, the other stuff. I'd like to show you how simple it is to use that framework a little bit. Maybe I'll do, I use the example code from, I showed you at the beginning, the little example code here. I just copy the example code into a little project for Eclipse. So we are just doing by this. So I just copy and pasted it into that thing. So what we need is, we will go a little bit through it for the first time. So what we need is actually to have the right doc type in our HTML. This HTML file is, you should define it like that. What is interesting here is, okay, I'll show you how I did it here. So I have my index HTML, this is my index, and also my CSS class. I downloaded the Bootstrap min CSS, so I have to like modify this one to the right path. Okay, here we go. So this one we will put all the other things aside, so it gets easier to understand. So I deleted like the responsive CSS. The responsive is like for also like the navigation bar and stuff like this, but we don't need this at the moment. I don't want to go into the navigation class. This is also pretty basic. So this is how we start with. There's also like JavaScript at the end. We do not need these JavaScript containers as well. I delete them. These are just, so if you need them, you only like get only the JavaScript you really need. Don't import everything at once. So we will have now the pure CSS, and I will show you how it looks like now. So we put out the navigation bar and all the things we didn't need. And this is how it does not work at the moment. And this will be because I didn't do that right. So now it will work. This is our first example we have here. This is the so-called hero unit at the top. And this hero unit you can find here. This is like this code generates like the upper container. And what we have to do is always we have a div class, it's called container, and everything in the container is like getting recognized by the Twitter Bootstrap. So the container class, div container class, ends exactly here. What we also see is here we have our example row of columns. And as I said before, first we have to define a row. This is like this div. And in this row, there are like 3 different div classes, all with span 4. So if you want to do it like, maybe like divide it through 3, through 4, like the same classes. So what we have to do is actually only this and everything. So now we have 4 headings and they are all divided smoothly. If you want to do it too, for example, pretty simple. Magic, and we have, of course, because it's a 12 grid column, we have to do the 6 span. This is pretty simple, and for example, and you can see here there's a button class. So I'd like to show you how everything works together. So let's have a look at the Twitter Bootstrap. And for example, you want to have another basic button, maybe. So we have a look at for example, let's include. You can pretty much just check. We want to have this checkout button. I don't know what exactly the name of this checkout button is, so I'll just have a look here. So this is like a class. So that is HTML. So we just copy and paste it into our Eclipse. So this we want now our checkout button. Oh, yeah. Now we have our checkout button here. Of course, you also need to import the clip icon, the little icon, so this works out usually. So we do it without our little shopping cart class at the bottom, so it doesn't look that ugly. This should also give you like a little example of what you can do with that framework, and it's pretty simple. So have a look at this framework, and because there are a lot of other boilerplates outside, like YAML or something. The thing is, everything is like included in there. Like you have loads of predefined buttons and all this stuff, and it's like perfect to write little web applications. They actually do something, not displaying only a website, so only making like really responsive website with like expressive buttons and all that stuff. So have a look at Twitter Bootstrap. This is like the URL. In the next example, I will show you how to use Twitter Bootstrap and how to include everything into the Play framework. So have fun with it, and I'll see you next time.